It's your boy Chisom again, yo. Hey, who is
And
that
it's
with
your
him?
boy. It's your Oga at the top. Peter
Yeah,
Ikochiki Chibizo Aliogo Jr. Frapapa.
what's
Oh,
wrong with this guy?
this
Why are
guy.
you so ugly, man?
What are you
Why
talking
are you
about?
so ugly?
I'm feeling myself, bro. I'm feeling
I
myself today.
beg, guys, we're back again. Hey,
Ain't
another
ready.
episode, guy. They're not ready, yo. Episode 6. Episode
We're
6.
almost there to the elusive
Alright,
eight.
guys. Almost there. Try, we're going.
We're going.
Woo! Welcome to the Afro Journal podcast.
Bombo clot. I'm sorry to my Jamaican people, but that is
Yeah,
just it's just one of
I
those things
beg.
that you have to say, bro.
They are
One of
going to they are going to bust your head. Oh man, but welcome guys. Thank you for joining us on episode 6. You can find us on social media, Afro underscore journal, Instagram, Twitter. You can email us afrojournal2020 at gmail.com. Yes, let's get into this episode, man. What are we talking about? Actually, before the episode, let's not
this guy
forget our proverb. Yeah, what do you mean? I
read
don't always forget.
the scripture, my friend.
The scripture.
Afro journal scripture. Break
The
it down for me.
scripture. Okay. Well, let's go with scripture. I'll let that one slide. So last week, the proverb was if you close your eyes to facts, you will learn through accidents. Pretty much. If you close your eyes to facts, you don't want to learn from other people's experiences. You don't want to learn from the facts on ground. You go enter
AKA
Wahala.
AKA always listen to your parents.
But now, even with the protests going on in Nigeria, we're speaking up against the old people, man. We're tired of the older generation.
Yeah.
You remember that
That
our
is
proverb at first?
that is our basic that's our grandfather generation, not even our parents' generation, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
that's true.
our
That's true.
grandfather generation.
It's a grandfather generation. But hey, like, learn from experience, or at least from other people's experience, not from your own experience. So, yeah, let's get into this episode, man. What are we talking about? This week's episode, what are we talking about today?
Today we have a very special topic, extremely special topic.
Extremely special. Okay.
We're, we're basically going to talk about
Okay, can you talk like a human being? I don't know what's the show you're doing. Continue.
we're basically going to talk about Black Lives Matter movement from an African perspective. Well, specifically Nigerian.
Okay, I was gonna say you represent the whole of Africa, man.
I mean, basically we do.
Oh, why?
We are literally the biggest black
Nation in the
nation
world.
in the world. We represent.
Fair enough.
We are.
But
We are blackness.
but a
Okay.
bunch of Africans are about to come
We
come
are
for us now.
blackness. Okay.
You're
Ghana.
just like looking for trouble.
Ghana will just hold you like our children. Tanzania. Tanzania. You're even an unborn child. You're not even yet ready for us. South Africa is basically
Man.
like the forgotten son. You know what I mean? South Africa is the forgotten son. It's like,
Oh
okay, where were you?
man.
Where have you been all this time? What have you been doing, bro?
Oh man. I mean, for real, I don't hear about those guys anymore. But anyhow, let's talk about Black Lives Matter, man. Because Black Lives Matter is based in America. I mean, UK and Canada as well, but mostly America. So yeah, let's get into this week's episode, man. So when you came here what 2015, Abi?
2013. 2013.
2013. Yeah, you're right. 2013. Wow, that's a special year. 2013. So what was your opinion of Black Lives Matter when you heard about it for the first time?
I obviously as a privileged Nigerian boy,
Privileged Nigerian boy.
I honestly was indifferent about it. I was like, okay, Black Lives Matter. What does it do? Oh, it helps. Well, my initial thought was like, oh, it's one of those political organizations from the left that were try to make everything about race and stuff like that. So I was like, I beg, I don't care. Like, I'm just going to live my own life, do my own thing, get my education, and vamos. That was my initial thoughts of Black Lives Matter.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, for me, it was very different when I came here and I heard about Black Lives Matter for the first time. That was when I mean that was the time of that was 2015. We're also hearing about a lot of police brutality, all that talk. So I remember the fear I felt, like obviously once you listen to other people's experiences as well, it really hit me. Like I was like very pro, like yo, like Black Lives do matter, man. We need to fight for our rights.
Yeah,
We need
I
to
mean,
break down the system. We
yeah,
need
yeah.
to go deep. and like scatter everything, end
Yeah,
racism, end everything, give us our jobs, give us everything we need. So I was very pro Black Lives Matter, man. Like, I was very like I
I
was
mean,
almost like
let me just say this. I was always in a bubble all my life. I went to
yeah,
private schools all my life. So you can also have imagined like I mean, I always knew cops were dangerous in general in the US especially because of they're so carefree with their shootings.
yeah,
Americans love their guns too. So I was always like worried and I always knew that race factor was there too. But as someone who is not from here, they understand the social economics and the social dynamics as well in it.
yeah.
I was just like, yeah, it's American doing his thing, man. Let them continue. I'm
Let them
chilling.
continue. Let them
I'm
continue doing whatever they're doing.
I'm
You're
chilling.
chilling. At the end of the day, you're in school. You're doing your thing. You're going to find a job. You don't really care about anything else.
Yeah, basically.
Oh man, but yeah, for sure. And but to be honest, though, my opinion changed after a while. So
I
like,
mean,
it came in hot.
I think everyone's opinion changes when you dive deep into it. Obviously.
Yeah. So to be honest, after like my initial my initial hot like like fight for black people, this and that, blah blah blah. And I started thinking, and I started hearing all these things like, oh, all lives
Okay,
matter.
okay.
What?
Let us break down the organization first now.
We want to break down the organization first.
Let's break
Let's
down
break
the
down the organization first before we continue our whole spiel.
yeah.
So, I mean, for those that don't know, by the way, if you don't know what Black Lives Matter is at this point, then
You're
I don't
living
even know what to
under.
say to
You're not
you.
even living under a rock. You're living under
I
a
don't even
volcano.
know.
Like
It's like I don't even know what to say to you at this point. Like, there's just too much out there. You have to know about it. But for those that don't know, this is an organization that was founded in 2013. And what triggered this organization to be founded was the death of a young 17-year-old man named Trayvon Martin, who was killed by a white, emphasis on
what? Oh, sorry.
white
Sorry.
man.
Yeah, continue.
Yeah, what was that?
Sorry. Sorry.
By a white man named Zimmerman. And pretty much Trayvon was just walking down the road one day, I think he was going to buy something from a store, maybe Skittles.
This
And this
was his
guy saw him.
though.
This
That
was his
was
neighborhood, yeah. This was his neighborhood. So it wasn't even like he was in a strange neighborhood. This was his own neighborhood. And then this white guy, this white security, I guess it was a security guard, it was a neighborhood watchman, saw him walking down the road. And it's like, yo, he was like, oh, he looks suspicious. So he called 911 on him. While he was on the phone with 911, he was still following him, to make sure that he wasn't getting away. And on the
it,
phone with
you know
911,
why I describe this kind of man? A male
well,
Karen.
he made male Karen, but this one is like actually very dangerous though. Because
Yeah.
Karens, they just have mouths.
Mhm.
But this one is out here like, I mean, he killed him.
A
Pretty
gun.
much killed him.
Killed him.
That's wild. So he followed this guy, and as he was on the phone with 911 guys, they were like, "Oh, are you following him?" He said, "Yes." They said, "Oh, you don't need to do that." The guys still continued. Then the next thing you hear, neighbors were like calling 911. Oh, they are hearing gunshots. They are hearing this. What happened was the Zimmerman guy go into an altercation with Trayvon and shot this guy.
I mean, Trayvon
But
beat his ass.
that's never where like things got really hot. Obviously, everyone was angry at that point. Now took this guy to court and told me why they acquitted this man completely free, done. They were like everything that he didn't deserve to go to jail. Everything that he did was well within his rights, self defense. After he attacked him first, that was mad and crazy. And I just want to mention the small facts. Take it as however you are. But the juror was
Quiet.
five white people and one mixed race person.
They put the
I would
mixed
say
race.
I would, I would say
They
I would
put
say
the
what
mixed
their
race
gender
person.
was.
I bet.
Just to sprinkle them, just to be like, oh, like, can you imagine?
They didn't even put a full black person. They just
As
put mixed race.
a mixed race person. Oh man, but anyhow, bottom line is that's what happened, and obviously that just sparked like nationwide protest, and it was within that whole scruffle that three beautiful black queens stepped
Oh,
up
beautiful.
and founded the organization Black Lives
Black,
Matter.
black, beautiful, diamond, gold,
We've
sexy,
heard, we've
good
heard,
looking,
we've
skin
heard, guy. Don't be
glowing.
trying to overcompensate for your predilection to white women. Don't try to
This
overcompensate.
guy is
It's
spreading
okay.
news. You are fake news, bro. You are fake. This guy is looking for my trouble. Oh my god. You are trying to
Yes,
assassinate
a
my
gold,
character.
beautiful.
You're trying to assassinate my character. Oh my god. You're in trouble. I will catch you.
Oh man.
I said, don't worry. I will catch you. Don't
All
worry,
right,
I'll
don't worry.
catch
I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. This
you. You're
guy,
trying to assassinate my character.
he likes our people. He likes our people. All right, but but yeah, three beautiful black women started this organization that we know today. I mean, 2020. You know today as a global movement. So you've seen how much that has grown. Yeah, Peter, I better break down some of their goals when they started back in 2013.
I mean, basically, the main goal was to form a global network, a global organization for the US, the UK, and Canada. And basically, their mission was to eradicate white supremacy, which is right, and to
Yep.
localize in the black community to solve violence and persecute vigilantes in there.
Yeah.
Persecute vigilantes. That's bad English. To have vigilantes in
To
that.
persecute, you're not persecuting them. You're bringing them to
Yeah,
justice.
yeah. Whatever English I speak, take it as it is. Um, and obviously, they wanted to combat. They obviously wanted to, combat racism and anti-blackness across the world. And
Yeah.
promote black imagination and innovation, and have black joys, and basically have a good perspective on what
Yeah.
being black is. Not always those negative connotations to it.
Struggles and all that. Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
exactly.
That's facts. That's facts. So now that we've given you a brief breakdown of what Black Lives Matter is,
My
please,
bad
if you're one of the people
English.
that actually with your terrible English, if you're one of the people that don't know what this organization is, please do research them and get woke, wake your ass up. Anyways, back to what we are talking about before about like how our opinions change over the years. So you started with indifference. I mean, I
Yeah.
started with a lot of passion, like yo, end racism, end
Like
police
yo,
brutality.
this guy's tried African American. Yo,
I'm
yo,
American dog.
yo,
Yo,
yo.
I'm American dog. Don't mess with me.
Green,
Been here 5 years
green,
now. I'm saying, oh man, but but yeah, my opinion actually changed once I started hearing things like when like the Black Lives Matter movement started going, and then obviously you now see protests or protests. So you start hearing things like All Lives Matter. You start hearing things like
police
Black
life
Lives Matter
matter.
is fake news. That
Yeah.
black people like playing victim. Like we're not even looking within our own community. Black on black crimes, the freaking gang violence, all these things that they started just like highlighting all the issues within the black community, that made it look like Black Lives Matter was fake. So it's kind of like, yeah, like this is just fake news. You people are just out here trying to cry so that you can blame the white man for all your issues and go scot free, and then you just get some freaking reparation that you don't really deserve. I was just like, so I honestly took that and I thought about it. I was like, I mean, I guess all lives matter. Like, I'm not trying to say all lives don't matter. So in a sense, I was like,
Triggered.
I guess all lives do
Triggered.
matter.
Triggered. Oh my gosh, bro.
No, this was pretty much my thought process. Right, let me just say right now before people crucify me. I'm not at all lives matter. I don't support all lives matter people right now. Let me just say right now before we even go further. And I was like, yeah, like there's a lot of issues within the black community. So like, I guess people do like we like we're like playing the victim. We're not taking responsibility for our issues,
Mhm.
and that's pretty much how my mentality changed after my initial passion and like desire and hunger for
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter. Yeah, but
I
so I
mean,
mean, how did your own change after a while?
I mean, mine necessarily did change. I just gained more information. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? I just gained more information. I always knew that obviously there were problems in the black community, and there were
yeah,
problems in the system that they were put in the first place. And you can blame the individual, you can also blame the
system.
the system as well, the society.
Yeah,
So I just gained more information, and obviously Black Lives Matter has a perspective of blaming the system rather than the individual. So I had some pros with it, and I had some cons about the movement as well. So
Yeah,
I was still indifferent about it. Let's just say
yeah,
I just get more information.
yeah. I don't know. Me, I feel like I was just like a sine wave, man. I was just going from 0 to 100 to 0 to 100. Because then, even after all that, after a while, I started hearing, oh, like all lives matter, just a protest are protest. What we're really saying,
I mean, I
I'm
believe
like,
all life matter was a protest to a protest. That
yeah, I
was
believe it
just
now. That's I heard it. I was just like, yeah, actually, that makes sense. Like these people are literally just saying all lives matter because we said Black Lives Matter. We never said all lives don't matter though. But right now, Black lives are the ones that need help. You know,
hmm
heard that one. Heard about the whole like incarceration rates for like Black people and how they literally destroyed
I
families
mean, yeah, that's
and
the
sent Black fathers to prison.
yeah.
Once I
I
heard
mean,
about that, I was just like, yo, that is crazy. That is crazy. Destroyed families. Because I used to blame black people. I know you want to say something, sorry. But like, I
yeah.
used to blame black people for like the for like the families. Like like for the fathers not being around. I was like, these people are just messed up. How can you not take responsibility for your child? You have a whole child and you just leave them and go. But then when I heard the other side to the story, I was like, whoa, that's messed up.
I mean, Chisom, like you said, you're a sine wave, and the issue is not just
I'm not
only oh
I'm not
because of the
I was. Don't disrespect me, sir.
okay,
I was.
you are a sine wave. Obviously, the incarceration rate in the black community is also a factor that leads to increased rates of single motherhood. But that's
Yeah.
not the only cause of that. But we move on. I was going to say that I mean during this movement is when we started hearing about a lot of black community statistics about the incarceration rates, the gang violence rate, etc., etc. And you say all this is like,
Yeah.
wow, I never knew that about the black community. I never knew this about this. I never knew about this. I never knew about this. I know they'll be contracting different minority groups. So you hear about the Hispanics, you hear about the Asians, and you
Yeah.
hear about like
Yeah.
so your head, you're just like, yo, bro, like what's going on here? You
What's
know,
going on, man? You're just
sometimes
getting so
just
much information. It's like,
as, as obviously as an African person, you want to also see the demographic of what Africans are. So that's also something that was really interesting. The data and the analysis that came with all those
with
protests
the
and
movement. Yeah.
racial tensions in the US.
Yeah. So, yeah, fast forward to 2020. So, people are calling this the new civil rights movement.
Mhm.
2020 has obviously been a special year. And
Extremely
this was
special.
because,
Starting
I
from
mean,
the
because
first day of 2020.
literally, once it said 2020 vision, boom, our eyes opened. We just started seeing all sorts of things.
All sorts of
It's like,
oh
guy,
gosh.
this year just our eyes are like this now, all around the world, like everywhere open. Oh man, but yeah, this year has been pivotal, right? So we've been hearing Black Lives Matter over the years. We've been here 5 years, or you've been here 7 years. I've been here 5 years, right? We've been hearing it, but then 2020 has been different. And
Yeah.
what sparked it was three different events.
Mhm.
And we can talk about that. Like we can talk about. You want to start with the death of George Floyd?
I mean, George Floyd was a very, very emotional one for a lot of people across the world, not only in the US, because of you could
Yeah.
watch the from beginning to end. It was almost 10 minutes long, and you could
Yep.
see this white police officer, resting his knee on George Floyd's neck while he's begging, pleading to let
Begging, man.
like, he can't breathe, he can't breathe, he can't breathe, and begging for his mom. Like this guy, this
Yeah.
old man,
For 8 minutes 46 seconds.
bro, he
Eight
was
whole minutes.
this
Damn.
guy was begging for his mom, and it was just so painful that the officer did not even care. So emotional, he's putting his hands in his pockets, man, and
He
everyone
was
felt that
chilling.
honestly, from an African perspective, would have killed that guy. I
We
am
have
not
killed
going
him
to
right there, man.
I am not going to lie
Like
to you.
right
Would have
straight up.
carried when we saw that video, we'll go to his house, drag him, and annihilate him, cut him into pieces, take his legs, take his arm, take his head, just start. But this is
Yeah.
obviously we can't be, you know, acting this kind of ways. Obviously, that's not the right way to do this. That's not the civilized way to do it. You can't be
We
having
got
mob violence. But the
yeah.
fact that that video was defended by some people in the United States just show how devious the political system is. So that was
For
one of the
sure.
major that
The
caused a lot
corruption in it,
that,
yeah.
that caused a lot of anti-police movements, you
Oh
know,
yeah, for
which
sure.
which um some are justified and some are not, but definitely made you to rethink
But
of
it sparked a big conversation around the world, man.
it's
We're
such a
talking
big
now.
conversation about policing, bro. Like
Yeah, policing.
from US to China to Nigeria, like we have police issues, you know?
Yeah.
So
It's honestly a big thing because, like, you think about these people that are meant to protect you, and now they're the ones taking advantage of the system because they are the enforcers of the law. So they feel like they are above it now, you know? And it doesn't make any sense. And the thing, I feel like the unique thing about the Black Lives Matter movement, especially now, is social media. Social media
yeah.
has changed, honestly, changed the game with any movement. So, like, within seconds, you can literally go and you can have a first-hand experience of what happened. Not really first-hand, but almost first-hand experience of what went down. Like we're seeing this George Floyd's case. A lot of the time we hear all these things all these things are just stories that you hear. You know, you hear that this happened, you hear that Michael Brown got shot. I didn't necessarily see it. I don't know if the video is out there. You know, you hear of all these people like Timmy Rice, all these people, different people. These are just stories in your head. Then you have to research the news and see it. But now George Floyd is literally right there in front of you. So you can it almost becomes more deep, like
It
a deeper
becomes
emotional
real.
reaction.
It
Yeah,
becomes
it's very
real.
real for you. It's very real because you can see everything firsthand. And I feel like that is what is really changing the game. Like if you look at like the protests around the world in the UK, Nigeria, different countries around the world, just because they experienced this.
I mean,
Then
video. I
something
mean,
else happened.
definitely, video evidence has definitely changed the game, where you can
Yeah,
have like actual footage of the crime being acted. So that has definitely
exactly.
helped a lot of people in the victim stage.
Yeah,
Uh, thing. So yeah, I mean, George Floyd definitely sparked the whole thing. We saw during COVID-19, during the pandemic, there was a
during the
whole
pandemic as well.
bunch of protests across the US in the main cities
Honestly,
from
it
New
was
York.
beautiful. It
Yeah,
was
I
beautiful.
was proud from New York to what do you call
All the
it?
way to California, man.
All the way to California, Seattle, Atlanta. Places were just major cities in the US were just going crazy. I'm trying to diss the Midwest regions, but the Midwest regions are usually more conservative and they don't really, care about those kind of stuff. But even then, there were still people protesting in those
Oh
in
yeah, for
those.
sure, for sure,
So yeah,
for sure.
George Floyd definitely sparked. There was a trend. They were like, trying to get this man, like going to his home, and a whole bunch of police were now protecting this guy. I was like, yo, they need to drag this
Like
guy. Like, my head, I was
drag
like,
him,
they need to drag this
yeah.
guy. They need to drag him.
Honestly, like when back in the days in the biblical times, the way they used to kill some people is that they would tie you to a horse and literally have the horse drag you and run around the city. You literally get scraped to death.
Mhm.
I was like, yo, like these are obviously now. I'm not saying that we should be doing that to
We
people.
don't
I'm not,
condone violence,
but
but in
I
our
don't
head,
condone violence. But in my head, man, I'm just this is the kind of thing that someone like that deserves.
yes,
Low key.
yes.
But I don't condone violence. I beg. Let's
Yeah,
just be clear.
I definitely agree with you. I'm like I said in Africa, this guy would have been dragged without a doubt,
For sure.
because of there was no sympathy or care for the actual person you're arresting.
Exactly. And even the other officers there. I don't know if you saw that video going around social media about like this woman that found one of the officers
Mhm.
there. And she literally insulted this guy's dead. Like the guy was just walking. The guy I think he was wearing a hoodie, trying to go and buy groceries from the supermarket or something. This woman found him. She brought her phone and just insulted this guy's destiny. I was lucky, almost feeling bad for him, but I was like, nah, bro, you deserve that. You deserve it. Like,
I mean,
100%. He wasn't one of the
I,
guys that knelt on him, but he was one of the officers there. But he
I
wasn't the guy
mean,
that knelt on him.
yeah. I mean, the thing about the US police force is a very boys club. Like, oh, if you do something wrong, we'll protect you. We'll protect you. We'll protect you.
Yeah, yeah. And that's one issue I have with the police.
That's not the
Like, you
kind of
need
mentality
to
of the police.
condemn, if you mess up, condemn whoever messes up. Not before
Exactly.
me, you know, we're brothers, we're this, we're that, we're that. This is not bros before anything
You
else.
are literally a
You know,
government. You're literally a government organization. Like you're not meant to have like a union or anything like that. Like what? Let's just leave that topic. Which other events are there? No, George
I
Floyd
mean,
was a
yeah, I
very
mean, but even before George Floyd, there was Breonna Taylor.
yeah,
I
and
think,
that
I
one,
think that
that one
Brianna happened what like 2 months or 3 months before George, but there was no coverage. There was no real coverage
yeah,
on it until after George Floyd. So it
yeah,
was a
yeah,
protest, and this is one of the benefits of Black Lives Matter. Honestly, it's kind of like it's
yeah.
highlighting all these issues. Right,
Hmm.
like literally, Brianna died, and no one knew about it for like almost 2 months.
Hmm.
We didn't talk about it. Nothing happened. It was during in the midst of George Floyd's conversation that Brianna's name finally came up, and everyone
Yes.
started talking about her. She
Hmm.
was literally chilling with her boyfriend, jejely, in her house, watching Netflix, doing whatever they want to do. Normal day. The next thing you hear, boom, 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 boom. Guy, if you're chilling in your room right now, you're in your house, Abby, and you just say boom, 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 boom.
Nigeria
Next door,
policeman.
what
Oga,
would you
who
do?
be who's in?
Ha! Yeah, me, I'm running. No, I'm not opening any door.
Obviously, based on the information we have now, they supposedly say that they identified themselves as police.
I mean, from the information from Kenneth, I think that's her boyfriend's
Yeah,
name. I hope I'm saying his name right. Yeah, he said that he didn't hear it was the police. He didn't hear. So what they did was the guy panicked. He has a gun. If you had a gun in your apartment, meant to protect your protect you from intruders.
the
What do you do?
American way. Oh. The American way. Oh.
Guy,
Just
you use it. Like, and this guy actually shot on the floor, asking them identify yourself. By the way, these people they just raided the apartment, so it's not even like they were like or they were trying to be civilized or anything. He shot on the floor. He shot one bullet on the leg. This guy rained hell on them, like more than like 40 shots at these people. Obviously, they killed Breonna Taylor.
yeah.
I mean, they shot her. She was shot, but she wasn't even dead yet. While she was there lying down, bleeding out, they were now more focused on arresting the boyfriend instead of getting her help. Apparently, this girl was alive for more than 20 minutes on that floor. I don't know if it's true, but it's what I heard. She was alive for more than 20 minutes on that floor, and no one tried to help her. Allowed her to bleed. She died. EMT,
I definitely think that
friend.
obviously that's when you we start talking about this racial, you know, differences. Like
Yeah,
if it was a white girl, do you think they would have ignored her for
exactly.
20?
Exactly. If it was a white, would they even do that in the first place? If they knew they were going to, because they told these people that Breonna Taylor was little to no threat at all. So they didn't even need to go in hot like that. Like they had all this information ahead of time.
It was,
So
and
just
I mean, it was a very poorly planned. Um.
poorly planned, poorly executed
Yeah.
raid. Like
Yeah.
that was just a mob. That was like
Yeah.
armed robbery right there.
I mean, we can go on about the American police, and they have all these unions that protect them, and they don't want change. Obviously, let's just move on. Let's move on to the next one because Breonna Taylor was also a major one as well.
I mean, I just want to mention this before we move on. It's like, I mean, at the end of the day, the officers did not get charged.
Yep.
I mean, we know that now. They didn't get charged with anything. They just released them. They actually got freed.
Like I feel like
That is even the craziest part.
I feel like American system is very trash for a system that's supposedly very transparent. That nigga,
Transparent.
that shit isn't transparent, bro.
It's like,
they
what
they
the
they
heck?
cut corners to try to hide like their plots on truths. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like
guy, if you,
it's so obvious that they are trying to hide shit. Because
it's so obvious.
if the truth was on your side, you will release everything. That is the fact. You won't
Yeah,
try to cut corners. And like
exactly.
to me, America is just at fault at that because it knows that if it crosses a line with the police, it will just be bombarded because of
Oh, yeah.
it has like all these filings or like all these cases against the police, and if they let one through, if they open a tiny space, it should just be
Yeah.
suppressed,
Yeah.
lapse. So they are trying to
Yeah.
protect their police. in a certain way, so the whole building doesn't come falling down. That's
They're really just trying to protect the system so that the thing doesn't crumble. They
yeah,
don't want the system to crumble because if it
yeah.
crumbles, wahala day. So I don't know, man.
I
Anyways,
just
let's
go
move on from Breonna, man. And then I don't know if you want to talk about Ahmad Arbery, man. I'm already
like,
I'm already getting triggered again.
basically, yeah. I better pronounce his name. I can't really. I struggle with his name.
Ahmad Arbery.
Ahmad Aubrey, that guy. May his soul rest in peace. But
Honestly,
he was
RIP, man.
obviously the one that went jogging on February 23rd, and supposedly was chased down by three white men in a pickup truck with guns, and basically every black man's or any black person's worst nightmare in the US.
Yeah, for real. Getting chased down by three white men. Yeah,
With guns,
literally,
in a
ha.
pickup truck. Uh,
I don't even
uh,
know what I'll do.
and he was gunned down, killed for supposedly um stealing something.
What do you even do? Is like, I mean, he walked into
He walked into a
like
construction
a
building,
construction building. Yeah, that's what he
um,
did. And
and
apparently, he's an intruder. So they
they
killed the
wanted
guy.
they wanted
They
to
wanted
uh,
to arrest him.
they wanted
That was
to,
the
uh,
plan.
wanted to apprehend him to wait for the police, right?
Citizens arrest.
Yes.
Yep.
But if you watch the video, you literally see Ahmad Arbery running, and you literally see them point the gun at him, and he starts fighting with them with the gun because it's like, what are
Yeah.
you doing? What are you doing? Why are you pointing a gun at me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Defenseless black guy, in shorts, has not no weapons on him, and it's like three white men with guns are chasing after me. Of course, your instincts kick in, and obviously he was dragging the gun with them. When he couldn't get the gun, he started running away, and this guy shot at him, and
Yeah.
supposedly audio you could hear them say the N word. So I'm not really surprised.
Yeah. It was honestly just sad. I mean, I guess the silver lining in that story is that the men actually got charged.
I mean, when we're talking about all these stories, it just chokes your heart. And honestly, we are
Yeah, it's crazy.
so happy that even though I don't agree with everything, I'm happy that Black Lives Matter has found a way to push their voices up front in U.S. politics.
Yeah,
Because the truth is
for
that
real, for sure.
if it's not black people that push this, no white person will put it. That's
No one else
that's
will do it, man. If we don't
that's
do it,
just
no one else will. So we have to
no
we have to do
one
it. If we don't do it, no one else will. So we have to do it. Thank God. But yeah, I mean, thank God those guys are getting apprehended. I mean, apparently they're facing life imprisonment,
yeah,
possibility of
and
no parole.
those ones deserve
They
it. I
deserve
mean,
it for sure,
I mean,
for sure, hundred
all the other
percent.
ones that got scot free,
Yeah,
their life is definitely affected.
this might be
Whenever,
different. If they were policemen, this might be different because, like we said before, they might be trying to
oh,
like they try to protect the system so
if
much.
you were a
If they were
policeman,
policemen, this might be
you said that
different,
oh,
way different.
they're in self defense because of
The self defense, all these things
Ahmed Arbery was fighting a gun off them, so they
of
they had,
them.
they had
Yeah,
to fight self defense. I beg, America just has different
stupid
rules for
shit,
different.
man. And
America,
it's like even one question I even have is why does citizens arrest still exist? A law that was literally founded back in 1863 to allow white people catch slaves that were trying to escape. That was the foundation of the law, citizens arrest, and that's what these white men tried to do to Ahmad Arbery that got him killed. It doesn't make like the law is so outdated. It doesn't make sense why that is still a thing. And you can hold you actually by the law you're allowed to hold this person for up to 2 days before the police arrives. So you can literally arrest someone, hold the guy hostage for 2 days. I'm just like, can we allow the police to do their job? Or if we're gonna have police, let them do the job. Obviously, this police is sketching themselves, but at least they are there for now. Let them do the job. We're citizens, so anyone you just want to arrest anyone, just arrest them.
I beg
That
you.
doesn't make
So
any sense, man.
obviously, we're criticizing America because of we believe the American system can get better. We can't
Oh
be
yeah, for
compared.
sure.
We definitely cannot be comparing Nigeria to the American system, without a
Yeah,
doubt.
Nigeria is coming after this episode. It's like, well, don't worry, because I'm out here doing chit chats. we're talking like
When we talk about Nigeria,
we're
you
talking
understand?
about Nigeria. Don't worry, we're still here. I mean, okay.
I mean, yeah, but obviously, America presents itself as a very um, great society, well
Yeah,
developed society, but it has flaws in the system, especially when it comes to the lobbying in Washington D.C. So and Black Lives Matter are just playing the same game that they're playing, and obviously
yeah.
niggas don't like that. Niggas don't like that.
Oh man, but yeah, man. Like, let's just talk about the effectivity of this organization. So as a whole,
All
they
right,
started in 2013.
pros and cons.
In your opinion, have they been as effective as you want them to be, or have they been
Obviously,
effective?
if I was to run the organization, I would run it differently, without a doubt.
Yeah,
But I feel that they're effective in some things, and I can break that down. I think they're very effective in terms of spreading their message and making their message national wide news. I feel
yeah,
they are very at localizing power and being effective in terms of pushing things through, whether it's financially or politically. Um, that 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 is what I can think of right now. I don't know if you have
yeah.
point of.
I mean, yeah. I mean, in terms of effectivity, I think like they've definitely. I mean, a lot. Like what you said, man, like they push their narrative, they push their agendas out there. So I mean, the only reason we know about Breonna Taylor is because of the protest, and then her name came up. They're allowing for more conversations to be had, and once there's conversation, then there's possibility of change. If we're not
Yeah.
having a conversation at all, then pretty much we just know that we're going to stay stuck in the same system in the same way. That's one good thing about the Black Lives Matter is that like now we're actually talking about all these things. So if I mean, in terms of talking about it, there's actually been reform that's happened.
Mhm,
So in Louisville, they banned no knock warrants,
mhm,
which was what Bob Breonna Taylor killed. They've banned chokeholds in some states, so the police cannot do chokeholds anymore. So George Floyd will probably not repeat itself again, hopefully, by the grace
mhm.
of God.
Amen.
These are small reforms, and also like police now wear police cameras
And funny,
because of the
and
pressure
funny enough,
from Black Lives
yeah,
Matter.
and funny enough, those police cameras, some of times they don't even have it.
Yeah,
They should be punished for not
if you
having
don't have it,
don't have it. I
that's
think
what I'm saying.
I think they need to like have some strict laws in terms of policing, man. Because of
Yeah, like
when you hear all
consequences.
this, you hear, oh,
Strict con-
I didn't have my body camera on. I'm like, what are you doing, bro? What
yeah,
are you doing?
with great power comes great responsibility. That's
Exactly,
not a
bro.
joke. You're giving a lot of power. Obviously, you have a lot of responsibility to serve. We appreciate you. We thank you. You're risking your lives to do all these things. But
And
then, if you don't carry out your job to the letter of the law, you should be duly prosecuted properly.
exactly, exactly. And
Properly.
I think Black Lives Matter is definitely pushing that agenda. You know what I mean? It's definitely
Yeah,
pushing that. So I definitely commend them in that. Um,
yeah. Some of the smaller issues, like I mean, this year, a lot of the Confederate statues are
mhm.
not being brought down. Like I mean, for me, I'm like, obviously, I don't really that thing doesn't really do anything for me. All that is just show, but it makes sense. You can't be honoring all these slave owners and shit. Like you can't be doing all that. So which
Yeah,
is good.
people
That's
were
one of the
basically fighting for slavery. Let's be honest.
exactly.
They were fighting for their economic wealth, but their economic wealth was built on slavery. So
Yeah,
niggas now start to try to spin shit and saying that oh they were not really fighting for slavery, but they were fighting for their business and stuff like that.
yeah,
Their right to rule. Their right to rule was highly oppressive, nigga. Why the fuck would you have a statue of Hitler?
for real,
Why?
for real. Like it won't make any sense. It's like, oh no, we've moved past it. Sorry, we don't do all that
Like,
anymore. But we're
you
still
know,
going to honor this guy.
yeah,
It's like what?
yeah, like America, like America. Obviously, they still have people raising the Confederate flags. And I'm like, it's like, oh, this is our view of like not being oppressed. Not
Yeah,
like standing our ground. I'm like, if you're standing on the ground of dead bodies that you've oppressed for hundreds of years, if that's what you want to stand on, nigga, you're not a good person. You're literally not
get
a
your
good
life
person.
together, man. Get your life together. That's just what it is.
The truth is that most of these niggas are ignorant. Let's be honest here. The majority. I mean, if it's a black,
I mean, they just saw their friend doing it, so they want to do it too. They
no,
just had
no,
the
no.
one-sided story.
They're so distant from that past that they don't understand.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? They don't get thought of what the actual Confederate flag does and what it stands for.
yeah,
I'm not saying
for
that the
real.
Confederate flag is just only what do you call it? Slavery. But a huge
Yeah,
part of it is slavery. Niggas don't
yeah,
learn that. They say, oh no, it's not part, it's part of it's certain heritage. Certain heritage. I'm like, what
yeah,
it's a definitely complex stuff, and I'm obviously Americans they like to play on people's emotions because of
yeah,
the truth is that America plays the population as if they are retards and dumb. Let's be honest here. Some of the things that the way Trump talks, those Trump's anyhow, and people "Ah, blah, 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 oh my god, spread the
just it's
wow."
all politics,
Even
man. It's all
even Joe Biden,
politics. They're
even Joe
all
Biden,
playing on
Joe
emotions.
Biden, even Joe Biden does the same thing. You know,
Everyone does it. The left, the right.
they
Everyone, they're playing the same game.
not deep
Different
analysis.
goals, same game. Yeah.
Analysis on all the subjects. It's just political gain for them. So they play on these people's emotional strings. Or they want to take your flag away. Or they want to take this Confederate guy for this away. Wow. And obviously the right
Oh
thing to do
man.
is obviously to go through the legal process and take it down.
Yeah.
So, but we
Yeah, for
can
sure.
we can discuss about the negative things about
Actually,
BLM.
before we even talk about, I want to talk about. Like, I mean, because you're talking about the Confederate flag, right? Like, one good thing though that came out from the protest this year was Juneteenth.
Mm.
Juneteenth was epic, like, because I mean, like, it was actually got recognition. This is actually the first year in my life, actually, because I've heard it. I heard it like when I was in school. I remember when I was in school, I heard it like thrown around Juneteenth, but I didn't really understand what it was. It wasn't really anything big. And then this year was the first year that we actually got the year off. So I was like, oh, what is this? What's going on with Juneteenth? So I actually learned about Juneteenth and like understood
So,
that yo,
so
like
I don't like Black history, man. That's the truth.
they don't teach it
America
properly.
just
They
like
just ignore it.
they just like to. Oh, we just had as slaves. Oh,
Oh,
we just
we moved past slavery. That's it.
oh,
Nothing else
and,
happened.
we had the what the fuck is his name? Abraham Lincoln guy just came out. Commanded the place. Ah, yeah, let's go to civil war. Let's win now. Let's win now.
Oh man.
And America stayed together after that, and we abolished slavery. Yay!
Yeah, yeah.
They never
Such a
talk
great
about
country
cracks and what it means.
that is really hard to go through.
Yeah, what it means to lose your culture when you're coming from Africa, get stripped from that to the ground, and working 24 hours under someone who doesn't appreciate you, giving you the worst kind of lifestyle you can ever have, working for nothing, treats you like trash, treats your children like trash. You know,
Literally rape your women and children, treat you like a
uh,
dirt
and obviously,
in front of you too. That's crazy.
America calls itself a Christian nation. Is that very godly of them?
That's literally the opposite.
So
The opposite. Uh,
America has like this very weird,
holier than thou.
weird,
Yeah, like oh
weird
like oh
idea. Like the people in power that were in power didn't want to acknowledge the aspect. The people at the bottom were like, "Nah, nigga, this is all we know." There has to be a middle. There has to be a middle ground. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And America
yep,
has been able to solve that middle ground. Now, obviously, you see that's why it's so politicized because there's no middle ground. But
yeah,
let's I mean, let's continue with what you're saying.
yeah. Let's go on to the negatives, man. Like so, like some of the negatives, and actually, yeah, let's just go with the negatives. I was going
I
to give
mean,
them a whole spiel about Juneteenth, but I'm like, yeah, the episode is getting too long already. So let's just
I mean,
just go.
I could break down the negative is that I feel that Black Lives Matter shouldn't be have a political leaning. It should be
Yeah,
a non-political neutral organization. It is about Black lives, nothing else, nothing more. And if your
yeah.
goal is that, it cannot be political. You understand what I'm trying to say?
You can't jump into the same system
Yeah, you
and
can't
start
get into
playing the
the
same politics.
same
Yeah,
left or right or stuff like
leaning
that.
left, like
You know?
oh,
And
yeah.
some of his left-leaning policies have been promoted across the US, just like Chaz.
I mean, the
You know,
organization is very left leaning. So
yeah, the organization is very left-leaning, and like it's basically a product of what happened in Seattle. The Chaz, um, you know, um, movement that happened there, where basically a
Yeah.
bunch of people took part of Seattle and said that, oh, this is a different country and they have their own rules of the land and police are not allowed and everything here is free. And
Wait, oh, wait. Oh. These people wanted to do their own Wakanda.
yeah, is it Wakanda?
Is
Everything
that,
is free. They basically
or, eh?
they wanted to do their own
Their own
nation,
oasis,
their own oasis,
their
their
own
own
ideal nation.
utopia. That's the word I'm looking for. They want
Utopia. There we go. There we
they want
go. I said oasis. Oh man.
they wanted to, they wanted to do their own utopia and everything is free. But obviously, that shit has been tried a billion times in history. And there's a reason why it doesn't work. So I feel that people should start learning about history and understanding and why it should not repeat itself. So stuff like
Yeah.
Chaz, highly unrealistic and highly
So what really
unproductive.
happened there? Though? What really happened there in the Charles? There?
People were having fun at the beginning of the stages. It all went to shit when people started getting killed.
Oh,
It
so
all
they
went to
pretty much blocked the police. They said police are not allowed here. They created
yeah,
their own society, did everything,
yeah.
and then
It
all of a
was,
sudden crime.
but yes, all of a
Yeah.
sudden, two people died. The
Yeah.
whole obviously the whole thing had to get blown up because of
Yeah. So
reports
the
were
police now came back in and brought back order.
brought by order. You know,
Interesting. So you pretty much so that's pretty much like the is that where the whole defund the police started?
yeah. That's another huge thing. I feel that Black Lives Matter also promotes defunding the police. I don't believe
Yeah.
that's law. You need
Yeah.
the police is a fundamental part of society.
Okay, okay, yeah, hold on. So we just spent like the first half of this episode bashing police. Now you're about to be like, oh, we need police.
No, I'm bashing police because of they need to do their job better. That I'm not saying that we don't need them. There's a difference in the execution of your job. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like how you're doing your job, or if you even need that job in the first place. They are two different
yeah,
things.
yeah.
You were bashing.
Totally agree, actually.
You were
Yeah, I
bashing.
totally agree. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like we need them,
we need them, but
but they just do
they
their
didn't do it
job. They are
well.
just so shitty at their job. Yeah, but
Do
we
it
do need them though. Like the whole defund the police. I mean, for me, it was a very like I said, I'm kind of like almost like a sandwich. When I heard it the first time, I was like, what's this rubbish? Defund the police. And then when I now thought about it again, I started hearing, oh, like you can actually use those funds in other areas, other sectors. I was kind of like, yeah, that makes sense. You can
I
invest more
mean,
in housing, invest more in education, invest more in other systems that are not, because not every call to 911 requires a policeman. So I was
uh,
like, yeah, you can invest more in all these things. But then to me, I was still kind of like, you can still technically call everything police though once
yes,
they're providing security.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
still the whole police. But then you might just have better training. So that was why I was like, okay, I
It's
guess
called
we should
specialized training or
yeah,
special.
specialized training.
Yeah,
So I was not like I guess defunding is not necessarily the answer then, if that's what we're looking for. If we're trying to get more specialized individuals to respond to calls, if we need a therapist, we get a therapist right there. If we need, you get what I'm saying, like we don't need like someone to just come and pull out a gun.
mhm,
Then I'm like, you probably need more money than not less money,
yes.
in
So,
a sense. I'm not saying more money, but you just need to utilize the money properly in the
well,
special channels. It might be more money. I don't know. I haven't looked at the numbers yet.
yeah. I mean, me
But
personally, I believe that they need to be highly re-educated,
yeah, for sure.
highly re-educated in the US. They definitely
For
and
sure.
they need to be retrained and an excessive amount of training is definitely required because I heard that they only do like 21 days of training, of actual
That's
training.
crazy to become a police officer. To be given a gun. People that train how many years? Almost 10 years to become a doctor. Or 8 years to become a doctor. That was just wild.
I mean, yeah, I mean, we can move on from this whole police issue.
All right, all
I
right.
feel
I
like
mean,
we've hammered on it so much.
all right. We can move on
We
from
can
that.
come back in the future and break it down more.
Okay, I think one thing that Black Lives Matter, another negative for Black Lives Matter to do, is to make sure that it is a peaceful protest, true and true,
Oh,
and it
so you
should
feel like they don't condemn
I feel that they don't condemn
the bad eggs within the
yes,
organization
the
that
bad
just
eggs
ruin
within the
the
organization,
movement.
because all organizations have bad eggs, and we all realize
Yeah,
that. Okay, there are people who are violent protesters that support Black Lives Matter. We want to condemn those people. We want to isolate them because that should not stand. You know.
yeah.
So I mean, a good example was the death of David Dawn. You know, that retired
Yeah.
cop that
That was
was
sad, man.
killed basically during in St. Louis. Um, and he was killed basically during that whole spill of, was it Breonna Taylor? The
Yeah, I don't remember who the protest was for, but I know
yeah,
that it was
it
it was
was
over like TV or something,
yeah, yeah,
right? It was
like
like something
he was
so stupid.
protecting, yeah, he was protecting a pawn shop. I don't want to say pawn. It's not PORN. It's
Nigeria
PAWN.
accents.
Yes, he was protecting that shop, Sha, and he
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, like guy, you can't be stealing a TV." And all of a sudden, Dwa! He got shot in the head and died. And like that's a black man who was definitely needed in the community that could have inspired a lot of people to have a positive avenue in life. You know, he's lived
That
it,
was
he's
just
done it.
simply a black life, man.
Yeah,
That was just as simple as it was. That was a black life that got lost in the whole spiel. I don't know. I mean, the fact that we don't really have like leaders in the organization, it's hard for one person to come up and speak up like, oh, we condemn like
yeah.
the actions of those people. You get what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like if we had like a clear leader, it would make sense. Oh, that person will come up and speak. But I feel like as a group, we should definitely condemn like the bad eggs. You
Hmm.
know, like condemn it properly. So to me, I won't count them that against them too much, but it's something that they should emphasize that all our protests must be peaceful, and we should
Yes.
make it very intentional. It
Mm-hmm.
must
Hmm.
be peaceful.
Hmm.
You know,
I agree. I definitely agree with you. I definitely agree with you.
yeah. But yeah. I mean, as we're wrapping up, what can we like? What are your final thoughts? How broad should this organization be, and like
I
what
think
can they do
Black
better?
Lives Matter has the potential to affect the community across the whole world, the black community across the whole world. They've reached different avenues I never thought that they will. They reached
Yeah,
the Premier League. You know,
yeah,
there is this Premier League, and that's something I was like, oh, the UK is actually like having like, Black Lives Matter all over its football. Like, never would I have thought that would ever be a thing. So it definitely has the potential to reach far and wide, and across the whole world, including Africa. We definitely support some aspect of the movement, not all, because we have cultural differences. But I feel it
yeah.
has the potential to do great things, and I feel that they should first of all, in terms of the US, look at the hip hop culture, discuss that, break that down, and how it affects the community, the black community in the US.
So the hip hop culture, because it's kind of a very black culture.
Yeah, it's
So
black
it's almost like
dominated.
you're being black centric. Okay,
Yes.
fair enough.
So I mean, we all know about hip hop culture. It's not the it has good and bad parts, but majority of the bad is what shines out of it: drugs,
Yeah,
money, girls, gang violence, shooting, etc. It's not the best image for
yeah,
your young black people in the community.
yeah. I mean, for me,
I'm not saying.
I mean, they say you are what you eat. And for me, I like to say you are what you hear constantly. So
Mhm,
like, I'm not saying that you're going to become like some crazy guy that's going
mhm,
to go up and shoot up a bunch of people.
mhm.
But like, if you're hearing all these things constantly, it definitely has an effect on you. It
Yeah.
leads into even the whole baby mama, baby daddy
Mhm,
culture
mhm,
that you see kind of very predominant in the community. You know,
mhm,
it's like I feel like that thing definitely. I don't know, man. Like if you're going to have a child, please at least, at the very least, be in a very committed relationship. We can't be doing all these baby mama, baby daddy things.
mhm,
Having children growing up without their moms or their dads. It's just it's not good. Like the system is already rigged to make that happen. We
mhm.
shouldn't now support. We should now assist them
Promote
to
it.
get it done.
Yeah.
Exactly, promote it. Because we've already seen so many studies about the effect of not having one of your parents in the household,
Mhm.
the psychological and emotional effects that it can have on you and your future. You know, I don't know, man. And then
Obviously,
the gangs.
obviously, we all know about the gangs. We had it's a
Yeah,
story across the whole world. I feel that Black Lives Matter has the ability to push
they can definitely
initiatives
change that, man.
in the communities to solve
Exactly.
gang violence. And this
Because
is where you
we've
have to
done this
work.
much.
This is where Black Lives Matter could have worked with the police in those areas to have a community around that. That's
Yeah,
where the police is a good avenue to work with, you know, those communities and help
yeah,
them grow, because of the police is actually meant to protect, like we said. So if they are doing their job, Black Lives Matter could come into those communities and help them connect well and break those cycles of gang violence. I
yeah,
mean, a lot of this obviously ties into it, the baby mama stuff, the hip hop culture, and gang violence. They all tie into each other.
yeah,
So it's definitely something that could be built up. I know, obviously Africans Americans don't have a good history with the police. I mean,
yeah. Oh
we
yeah,
definitely
100%.
we definitely know why. But
Yeah,
BLM could change that and make it a positive experience for both sides. So
yeah.
everything could be incorporated with the hip hop culture, gang violence, and baby mama and baby daddy
So we done
things.
it.
So yeah. So I feel that Black Lives Matter has a lot of things that uh it could encompass in its
Like I
goals
feel like they should
and
just be
values
way more like actual progress focused.
for
Those
Black
like
people, not
for
just
black people,
caring not
not
just
just
caring
like the
about
political thing.
racism.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, not just caring about that. They could help more all over the
yeah,
world.
for sure. And so yeah, what would be like a final thoughts? For you, like, what's the last thing that you like to see Black Lives Matter do more?
I want them to obviously encourage voting. Use the political system to your advantage. America is
Yeah,
a democratic, um, has some democratic values and implementations.
yeah,
So voting is highly key, and definitely Black Lives Matter has the power to push voting, which can affect legislation. So I would like them to use that card a little bit more, not just protest, but actual, you know, pushing
yeah. I mean,
people in the
even
in the
talking about,
ballots.
talking about voting is very important because I mean, obviously, we just said don't play politics too much, but I mean, politics is the only way you can see legislative change in
Hmm.
society. But I feel like we should focus more on, like, I mean, we focus a lot on like the presidential votes, like that's cool
Hmm.
and all, but we should definitely focus more on local politics because this is like the branch of government that affects you more directly. Like these are the people that are in charge of police, firemen, like how clean your society is, like, or like community parks, things like that. Like this is a part of the government that affects you more directly. Obviously, you want to
Hmm.
get change from the top, but we can also start from the bottom and we can work our way to the middle. So like we talk about Trump, Biden, the presidents, all of that. There's only so much they can do from that level, and getting proper change from that level, obviously, it's possible. We should keep doing it. It's more difficult from a local level, though. It's definitely way easier. So we should focus more on that side. Like your mayor, vote for them, or your city attorneys and attorney generals and all those city managers and co. Get involved in those as well. And yeah, we're going to be better as a society. 2020 is a pivotal year in history, and I know that. Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
I
never forget
you,
this year.
you are definitely right. 2020 is a pivot, and it's so ironic that it's 2020. You know,
2020, our eyes opened. It said 2020, your eye will open.
we
Yeah,
get we gain 2020 vision.
2020 vision.
All right. So I think that's all we have about
Yeah,
BLM.
yeah, that's all we have for
So
now. We might revisit this in the future, obviously, depending on changes that happen or like new information that we get. But yeah, thank you guys for sticking with us with this week's episode of the Afro Journal podcast. Before we go, I'll leave you with my proverb for next week. Yeah, I can't find my proverb.
should I bang one out?
Oh yeah, about what proverb? Let me hear.
All right, all right. So the proverb for today is: if you lay the egg at the hen, how does it cross the road? I'll let you guys solve that. I'll let you guys solve that one on
Yeah.
the next episode on Afro
Yeah.
Journal. What
Wait, repeat your proverb. Sorry.
if you lay I actually don't know what I said. If you
Oh,
I mean, yeah,
man.
so
I cannot remember.
okay. Let me give you one.
Yeah.
Let me give you one. Let me give you
No,
one. Let me give you
I
one.
found my
Let me give you an
proverb.
actual one. Let me
Okay.
give you. Okay. Say your proverb. Say your proverb. Say your proverb. Say your
I found my proverb, guy. You're a terrible time filler. You don't know how to. you don't
I'm
know how to
actually
waste
good.
time.
I'm actually
What was
good.
that?
I helped you out, my friend. Just
Oh
say
man.
this proverb, my friend.
Alright, so the proverb is, I mean, by the way, next week we're gonna be talking about, we all know who that is, right? We all know who that
Mm.
is. So we're gonna be talking about it. And the proverb for this week is, if a giant kills a dwarf, that is no heroic feat. Think about it.
Speak that English very well again.
If a giant kills a dwarf,
Uh-huh.
that is no heroic feat.
Okay.
Think about it. Not allowed the English boys
Think
to bro.
about it.
Think about it. Think about it.
Think about it, boys
Oh
or
man, yeah.
girls.
You can always find us on Instagram, on Twitter at Afro_journal, and send us your emails if you have any thoughts, comments, questions about the episode. Feel free to email us at afrojournal2020@gmail.com. We'll catch you in episode 7. Thank
My
you
name
guys
has
for
been Peter
joining.
Nkechuku Chibuzo Aliogo Jr.
And I am Chisom Jeremiah Jerry Ejikeme Okafor. I will catch you again next week. Bombo clot.
Bye.